The older I get, though, I don't know about you, but like the more brutally honest I get too.
Well, you're running out of time. You might as well tell the truth, right? I can't speak anymore. You're like, wait, is this it?
Yeah. As a drummer, what we're doing is ultimately supporting someone else. So however free and fun and awesome it is, I still in the back of my head know that I'm just there based on someone else being there.
Welcome to JSlay, Made in the USA. I'm Jeremy, and I'm here today with Jason Petersen, also known as the Kid on Drums. Jason, thanks for joining us, my brother.
Glad to do it.
Yeah, good to see you, man. It's been 15 years. So looking into getting into my buddy's story, my story a little bit, and talk about a little bit of everything, right, Jason?
That's right.
We can hit on it all. Jason and I, this is kind of almost, in a way, like a high school reunion, and with two guys that were both respected in their own categories of talent. So Jason was known as the music guy. I was known as the baseball guy, not the sports guy, because I could barely touch the net if I jumped, but I could swing the bat a little bit. But you know, so we're getting to know each other tonight. But you know, on the JSlay Made in the USA channel, it's really about three things. It's about optimizing performance, which we grew up in that. We wanted to achieve at the highest level of whatever we did. And as you know, like a lot of people that strive to achieve at the highest level, man, there's things that come and place themselves in front of you to trip you up, right?
Okay.
So that's number two, is overcoming struggles. It doesn't have to be addiction, but overcoming those barriers that hold you back. And, you know, Jason, we've talked a little bit off camera, and I think I've shared a little bit with you. You know, we probably had a period of 5 or maybe, for me, maybe 7, 8 years where you live in this place of having these barriers that are tripping you up, you know? So, and then the journey out of that. Yes. And then the third thing is the culture war. And I think that's kind of what brought Jason and I back together, was just social media. You know, I would see things he would post and I would really respect it because it was nuanced, it was well thought out, and it was truthful. You know, you could back up what you said. And, you know, I aspire to be like that as well. And right now, there's more people needed to fight this culture war more than ever before. You know, if you're paying attention to all the news stories that are out there, there's just such an inundation and even infatuation with false narratives, with lies. Yes. And I think we are not going to get help from the mainstream. No. So we've got to be our own. We've got to optimize performance and overcome our struggles just so we can go out and be the Paul Revere saying the domestic freaking terrorists are coming.
Yeah.
And right. Not the ones that were there on January 6th, the other ones.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's...
We're committing the ultimate sin of logical thinking and
yeah, man.
Reason-based opinions.
Heck yeah. So we're going to get in a little bit of all that tonight, but I'm glad you tuned in. Also, Jason, give a quick plug on your band, just right out of the gate. Okay.
Okay.
Tell us where you're at.
Yeah, I play drums with a guy named Ryan Upchurch, and it's awesome. He's by far I've found a family in that group with him and under his leadership. It's an independent outfit, which for his popularity level, it's unheard of. It's really cool that we don't have to answer any kind of label. There's nothing we have to watch that we have to say or not say. We make our own schedule, and it's all about the fans. It's all about just creating and keeping things moving. Something different with him, especially from back when I was younger, is you know, this thing called the internet, where he's able to build up this huge following through Vine, through doing videos, doing funny videos, and then when they reached out to me, I'm told by the DJ, my best friend, DJ Cliffy D, you know, they had kind of hooked up. He was like, hey, you got to see about this Upchurch guy. You know, he's great. He's going places. He's doing well. And I said, well, what's the deal with this guy? And he said, well, he does videos and funny stuff, but he also is doing, you know, he's trying to build up the music thing. And right off the bat, I'm like, oh, great. So, you know, another funny guy trying to become a musician. They're trying like, this is going to be wonderful, you know. So I meet up to go audition.
Give me an example. Give everybody back home, too, an example of who, like a famous person that started out as a funny guy, because I can't think of any. I'm sure there's a ton.
I know, right? Yeah, there's not. I don't know.
Or there's just a lot of funny guys that are trying to do it, and all of them fail, so we don't know any.
I hate to sound that way, but that's pretty much it. You know, most guys, they try. It's just obvious that it's not as genuine. If it seems opportunistic, like, hey, I have fans, now I'm going to make money doing this, then it doesn't.
You're not talking about like a
way.
Justin Bieber making YouTube videos and somebody discovers him.
No. Okay. No, he built this grassroots following that's amazing. These people, I've known so many of them from back when I joined him in 2016. Now, he did like a couple shows without me. He tried one with a band. Apparently, it just did not go well. Like, they didn't learn the stuff. Everything they did sounded the same. Yeah. Now, keep in mind, this guy was doing rap at that point. It was just doing like, it's straight up rap. This country boy from Ashland City. And so these guys were kind of doing their country band thing, trying to play rap music, and it didn't work. Gets with the DJ. My DJ buddy, who's in the band, DJ Cliffy D, he's done FM stations, played with countless artists and stuff, but hadn't really done a whole lot of touring bands. He had just got done doing a tour with a guy named Jelly Roll, who's a big rapper from down here. He's doing great. Love that guy. Him and this guy named Alexander King, and we did some stuff together. We did a show with Yellow Wolf and Jelly Roll, and somehow it got back to him about Cliffy. They hooked up, and then Cliffy's like, well, I have a drummer, no doubt.
Links are going to be in the description, by the way.
Yeah, awesome. We team up. Me and him do a DJ drums duo anyway. With me and him would do raves and just fun, crazy stuff. So anyway, I meet up with this guy. I go to the audition. I'm sitting there. We start playing the songs. This lunatic comes in there. He starts doing the Running Man while I'm playing these songs. He's like, that sounds great. He's in. That's it. And it lifted off from there.
Nice.
But to not get too off topic with it, what's so different with this guy is that he basically lives his life on camera to an extent, but it's 1,000% genuine. There's no greed. There's no fake stuff. There's no turning it up even a little bit. It's all real all the time. And his followers are unlike anything I've ever seen. Like people that have turned against him or tried to like insult him or diss him, like look out. Like they just, these people will flood these people's comment section. You got it wrong. We're the most loyal fan base ever. So anyway, we started putting out music now, and then next thing you know, he's putting out country album, rock albums. We literally do all three genres. We're talking about even doing like a borderline heavy album. That's career suicide in Nashville. You can't do that. You can't,
unless you're doing it your own way with the grassroots following, because they'll get it. They'll get it. They're not going to try to box you in.
Yeah. Right?
They
know the words of his songs are all about the stuff he was talking about on his channel the month before. His life experience. There's no, bitches and money and this. It's all about real. He talks about, crappy tattoos and scraping money out of your truck.
Stuff that the average person probably gets.
Yeah,
right?
Right. Like making, squeezing by on rent, love and family values and, pro-America, caring about those kinds of values that are pretty much shunned upon by a lot of folks. But now it's working. It's great. I mean, even Garth Brooks didn't pull off changing genres there for a little while. You remember that attempt?
Yeah. Well, Chris
something with the hair.
Yes. Actually, I remember walking through Hastings in Murfreesboro, and I saw the album, and I knew I kind of recognized that guy.
Yeah.
And then I went back and I didn't say Garth Brooks' name anywhere on it. Chris
Matthews, Chris.
No, it wasn't Chris Matthews.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The MSNBC.
Oh God, yeah. Definitely not that guy. But that fell on its face, So
yeah, there was like one decent song on there.
Yeah.
But.
And I admit it, I didn't complain. I didn't think it was going to fail, but I was a little nervous when he started putting out the different styles. But he kills it because he puts his heart and soul in it, and his people are with it. So it's been a blast, and it's only been going up from there. So
how long now with the band?
First real show with them. Real show was I think March of 2016.
So okay, it's been a little while.
Yeah, and sold out little show, and now we're doing some arenas, and just really it's wild, we played an arena in Kentucky, had a 5,000 person spot. It was somewhat of a makeup show from the COVID BS and all that, but it was sold out. Had a great time, and the next day they're like, hey, I think we're gonna do it again. I was like, oh okay, next year. It's like, no, next month. You don't do that.
Nice.
And he said, all right. So they released tickets that week. All more tickets even because they had less restriction then. Sold out in 8 hours. Same exact little country city. They all just swarm in for it. I have people driving from Oregon, from Washington, all over.
That's great, man.
Great.
Explain the growth real quick. So 2016, you joined the band.
Yes.
And honestly, I'm about to get into what you guys do because I've been more following you just from a personal cultural perspective.
Yeah. And
then here recently, I've heard little clips, and now I'm really interested.
Oh, cool.
Because I can tell you guys are good, but it's the passion, it's the energy. I can tell that's what's driving this organic growth. It's got to be. Explain that growth. So you got 4 years. You said little shows to big shows. What does that mean in real terms?
I guess I'm speaking more just as everything from the amount of people there, but also just the organization. One struggle when you're going completely independent is there's no pros telling you what to do, which thank God, because Nashville pretty much hates us because we haven't taken their advice. But that also means, going through people. We have, several people work with us that maybe weren't, they're friends doing, this job and that job. I won't call anybody out specifically, but, it took a while to fine tune every single person in that outfit. And now I can honestly say that every person involved is 1,000% for the team. His mom's heavily involved. She's awesome. She's on the road with us pretty much every time. She does accounting, help dealing with a lot of the big things. Our
Yeah.
booking team's awesome, but they're, again, just our people. It's 2 people, and they also run our merch booth. Then we have an incredible security team. Now they're professional as it gets. They're them and the sound, but they're still our folks. These guys have done all the big celebrities, everybody. Like, they're legit pro
Yeah.
security, and that's really cool. But once it got to that level, now it's awesome. Our tour manager, who also does our video, he does all the videos. He's phenomenal. He does movie quality stuff. The videos are, I'll
badass,
easily
man.
put it right up against everything. Did you see the music videos?
Heck yeah, man. No, so in high school, I think we didn't really hang out, but I think there was a mutual respect.
Yeah.
We were in the, what was it? Was it chamber choir or
Yeah, Opera Workshop. Wasn't that the one?
Madrigals? Was that?
Madrigals. That's what
That was it with Miss,
Greg Gray.
yeah, Miss Gretel, Miss Gregory. Yeah, dude. So like, I knew you were a very talented musician. And I also knew you were really into, I knew it was cars, because you were always doing you were into the Need for Speed stuff before that was like a big deal, right?
Yeah. I had that car. It's really bad. I had that 300ZX car. I kind of worked my way up to. And I remember I got in a wreck, and then I was wondering about how I was going to get it fixed and stuff. I really wanted to get these other wheels and things. I damaged one of my wheels, and I called that store Hot Rods in Murfreesboro.
Okay. Yeah.
I called them, and then it was kind of skeeving of me, but I said, hey, if I,
What grade?
this was like 11th grade.
Okay.
10th or
All right,
11th grade, something like that. Yeah, so I was scheming, but I hit them up. I said, hey, insurance said that they're going to buy my wheel, but I asked them if maybe you couldn't get those wheels, what they do, and they said they buy all the wheels, like give me a whole new set for something.
Yeah.
So I called the guy. I was like, hey, if you happen to not be able to get those in stock, I'll be getting some more money I can spend with you, He's like, okay, I gotcha. And
Dude,
I know.
you were scheming, man.
I was a little Ferris Bueller wannabe back then, man. It was bad. But anyway, so long story short, State Farm cut me like a $3,000-$4,000 check off this little wreck I got into. So I ended up fixing it all up, and then I ended up having kind of a cool car. But then I'd always park in teacher parking over there near the gymnasium.
Yeah.
I don't know if you
No, I mean, I was so straight laced back then. I was like, everything by the rules for the most part.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
But that was just how I was raised. Were you raised in like a strong Christian family, or not so much? Like,
Yeah.
you were?
And when, before that too, like I always noticed that with you. I always respect that about you too. I was a little all over the place. Definitely was raised by a devout, the proper kind of Christians, the Christians you want to be around. Like they were deep in their conviction about
Just curious, what was the denomination?
biblical. I guess we're Baptist.
Okay.
Yeah. We did a Methodist church for a little bit, but we were Baptist as far as that goes. But it was cool. Like my parents were that in between. Like they weren't trying too hard, wearing affliction shirts and spiking their hair up and trying to be like the cool, come on down to church.
Oh,
man,
we
it's
were
cool.
so behind the times. We didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
not my Baptist church.
Yeah,
So
right.
we were Baptist too, man.
Yeah, we were real. They're about the word, about taking the word literally. And real biblical household. But on the flip side, it was funny because my dad loved rock and roll. He grew up, he had a little bit of party years.
Yeah.
I don't think it was really much more than concerts and a little weed here and there. But
They get married young.
Gosh, honestly, I don't know what year they got married.
Well, I mean,
Maybe
how
that's
old were
been
they?
better. Yeah, I'm trying to think what
Any
name they
idea?
had. But I think they were maybe in their upper 20s, so they had a little bit of
Okay.
life passing them by with that. When they actually got connected to that extent, but. They have an ideal marriage. Like they taught me a lot, what to expect and what I should expect for myself.
Yeah.
Probably
the things in those late nights in your own late 20s, you were like, damn, I'm letting everybody down.
Yeah.
I had
man.
I had a lot, especially when you wake up in the morning, you're somewhere you shouldn't be. It's like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
I always thought I said many a times, I'm thankful I have a lot of properly sold people praying for me, like awesome grandparents, good parents. I was really, really blessed and spoiled with that. They tried their best for us. We were middle class. I moved from Mount Juliet to Murfreesboro in like second grade. And then he got a job at that Heritage Farms dairy. But he was making like $50,000 a year, which was a little more back then, but we felt rich. We're like, oh, wow, we have like a 2-story house, all that. And then around my 10th grade year, he started a business, started selling houses, got into like selling manufactured homes and kind of teamed up with the guy. And then it was pretty cool. And like they were able to build a house. My dad got to get him a cool car and all that. And so they blessed me with, getting me and my brother both a good car. My brother kept losing his, though. He kept downgrading from getting in trouble. They started him out with this nice, like, Suzuki Rodeo. And I thought it was so cool. And then he'd get in trouble with his friends. And they found, like, like something they thought was like a marijuana bag under the car that was empty. But my dad was like, I know what this is. They kept cutting him down. He ended up with like a $2,000 Jeep. Then all his friends
never like total the car though.
No,
because that's what you usually hear is like they get the nice one, they immediately total that, and then it's like they get the the junker about 2 cars later.
Yeah, then it's like that's all you're gonna get.
Yeah. So you had some hardcore disciplinarian parents for the.
Yeah, they were.
They downgraded his vehicle because they found an empty bag that they thought was something like taking your car away.
Yeah, my dad's like, I'm not an idiot, But he would ask for. My brother would be the type that would
older or younger.
Older.
Okay,
yeah, so he was a senior when I was a freshman. So that's part of the reason I started kind of partying a little bit, being a little more silly, is because they started once he accepted me a little bit, freshman, sophomore year, like I was actually allowed to hang around, but it also kind of sped up my, experiences a little bit too at that time. But he would tell my parents he's going to go to a sleepover at like one of the friends my parents' likes house, knowing they were going to call and check, knowing it. And I would sit there and be like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, it's all right. It's all right. He'd leave, and sure enough, they call. He comes home, he's grounded for a month. He's all in trouble because he just keeps over.
He was willing to take the pain.
Thank God, though. It taught me. I watched the way they happen. I learned a lot about social interaction and, how to, not, tread on, I learned a lot. I was like, Scott, they're not that hard. Just show a little effort and be polite. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, man.
But no, it was fun. I did the band thing. Was really into music early on. Did saxophone in 8th grade. Hated it. The teacher ended up letting me play drums.
Yeah.
I was gonna quit. He's like, I really want to wait. Maybe have you do that. It's freshman year when you get to high school. I was like, no. So I got into that and just got obsessed with it.
Well, tell me this real quick.
Sorry, I'm off on my years. Gosh, it was 5th grade. I started doing the sax. Then I got into drums. And that was my first gig. Actually, it was 6th grade, Miss Craig's class. Miss Craig at Reese Rogers. We did a project, and I brought in my drum set and played Lenny Kravitz, "Are You Gonna Go My Way?" It's the first song I ever learned.
We knew each other in high school. Then we went our own ways. I played baseball at Georgia Tech, and I'd already started. I did have a great Georgia Tech career my freshman year.
Okay.
And then the sophomore year I slumped. The junior year, not only did I get hurt badly and have to miss the full season, I had back surgery and a shoulder surgery, and you knew I was a pretty good singer, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I love singing. I love doing voices and all this. I got hit in the throat. I love to tell people I got hit in the throat with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball because that's a story people get.
Yeah.
No, I'm running down a fly ball, and I had the priority as an outfielder. I'm running in. The second baseman who played in the big leagues later, he's running back. Eric Petersen, thanks a lot, dude. You killed my voice. He's like, I got it last minute. His elbow freaking hits me when I'm running full speed in. Boom.
Like right on your Adam's apple?
Yes, I got the video of this. We're going to play the video. I got the video. Yeah, it nailed me right in the freaking larynx. And actually, my team started calling me Larynx. That was like a nickname for a little while.
Just kind of a badass name in a way. If you don't know the story,
maybe, yeah. But the story sucks.
It sounds kind of space life. Yeah.
For 3 months, man, I could barely talk, and then the speaking voice came back. The singing voice kind of came back, but here the last 2 years, getting a little older, I've noticed okay, I've actually got to take care of it now. So what the hell am I trying to do? Starting a media channel, political stuff. But
you're doing great. That wouldn't mess with me though, because day to day, my inflections all over the place. It'd be really weird, having to kind of keep it in a box a little bit. Do you feel like is it more of a range, or is it more
big time box? It would probably feel like if you're a great drummer, and then all of a sudden you start to develop like muscular dystrophy or something, where it's I can still kind of do it, but it's just not there. I'm a little slower. I watch how fast you're moving.
I got carpal tunnel real bad or something.
Yeah. And there's a little bit of pain with it and all that. But that began a period of what's going on, because things just weren't working out great anymore.
Okay.
But then I had this big comeback. I go back from my redshirt senior year. The voice might be gone, and I was playing with a little pain, and I wasn't in the kind of physical shape I was before, coming off 2 surgeries. But by halfway through the season that year, I was leading all of college baseball in hitting and home runs halfway through the season. Yeah,
dude, that's sick.
Yeah, so it was cool.
Wow. Yeah.
And what do you know? I step on a piece of glass, and it stays in my foot for freaking 2 years.
Really?
Yeah. So I had a little rough string of events there.
Yeah.
But what that did for me, Jason. And
all for a reason, man.
Yeah, and you'll probably identify with this. So some bad things happen. I get drafted by the Phillies in the 8th round instead of the 1st or 2nd round, which is, as a freshman, that's what I was projected.
Yeah.
I go play, with the Phillies, and I'm pumped, man, because like even though like I've been through some stuff, it's like now I can just go play and the pressure's off. Yeah. And even I don't have millions in the bank, so I don't have to live up to like what the Phillies want me to do.
Sure.
I can just go have fun with this and grow it organically.
It's awesome.
And man, I had a blast. I had 6-7 years playing minor league baseball. It was a blast in one way because I enjoyed people. It wasn't all about me anymore. I just wanted to like have fun with my teammates because I knew this could all be taken away. It could be taken away like this. You never know when it's not going to hit you in the throat. It's going to hit you in the back or, somewhere it's going to end your career. I'm kind of catching you up here on my story a little bit. And, now
I didn't know a lot of this. I didn't realize you had the back and shoulder issues. I knew about the leg later on. But
yeah. Well, since you didn't know that, I'll tell you this. I finally get invited in 2009 to Philly spring training. So I'd worked my way up. Okay. I finally get to AA, which AA is actually the place where you take that leap to the big leagues. It's not AAA. AAA is like a holding tank for, if you're in AA, they may put you in AAA for a week and then send you up.
Okay.
But a lot of times it's the injured guys or the guy that's never going to make it to the big leagues, but he's still good enough, so he's 34. They just keep him there.
That makes sense.
But so I'm an all-star in AA. They asked me to go to big league camp for the first time, major league spring training. I'd always done minor league spring training. I go there, and man, I'm so prepared. I broke up with the girlfriend that I'd had for a while, and that was like this huge release. I was on it, dude. I go down there, and again, halfway through 2 weeks into spring training, and I was coming off the bench. They Slayton, grab a bat, So I'd go hit, and I'd either hit a double or a home run. It just kept happening. So I'm 6 for 11 with 2 home runs, 2 doubles, 2 singles, and leading the Phillies in RBIs and home runs after coming off the bench. And
that's crazy.
Some of my I wouldn't say exactly my heroes, but guys that I had baseball cards of from when I was in high school and they were on their way out, they were like, dude, you're about to make a ton of money in this game. Like keep. And for me, it wasn't about the money, but that's not a bad thing either.
But just hearing that though from these guys,
it was amazing.
Getting their respect, and their blessing, basically, you got this.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Here's the crazy part, and then I'll end my piece with this.
Sure.
So I said 2 home runs, right?
Yeah.
So my last at bat, I was actually 5 for 10. They call me off the bench. The bases are loaded. It's a left-handed pitcher. I'm a left-handed batter, and left on left's kind of tough.
Okay.
They get 2 strikes on me. I work the count to a 3-2 count. He drops a curveball, a 3-2 curveball. So kind of a gutsy pitch.
Yeah. I
stay back. I see it. I flick my wrist over the foul pole for a home run. I'm like, I'm going to make the team, I'm rounding the bases. I get to second base and I lose all feeling in my right leg and in my lower back. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? I get to third and I'm like limping. And then by the time I get home, the trainers run out because they know something's wrong. They carry me off. They don't carry me, but I'm kind of like hanging on to them.
Yeah.
Take me to the training room and, they're massaging my back, putting ice on it. How do you feel?
Yeah.
And I think I'm okay, but I'm like, God, please let me get off this table. Because I had experienced back problems before.
Yeah.
And where it was a herniated disc or whatever. I couldn't get off the table for like 2 hours. You're talking like laying there, could not get off.
Yeah.
Couldn't really walk for 2 days.
Okay.
So yeah, rounding those bases was the best moment probably of my life to that point.
Yeah.
Now, my kid's been born and stuff since then. That's changed things. But to that point, best moment of my life. I worked for it for my whole life. Hit second base, lose all feeling in my leg. I don't know if I did it on the swing or as I'm running or if it was just time. Because that disc, I actually had an operation done right before I went to the Phillies where they stuck a wire catheter in the disc and they cooked it. So much like a hamburger, it pulled off of the nerves.
Yeah.
And when you cook something, it kind of gets brittle and gets old and weak.
Sure.
And around the bases, I get to home plate. By the time I get to home plate, I'm hobbling. The trainers run out. I throw my arms around their shoulders. They carry me off the field, take me out of the game. And I'm thinking I've still got my happy adrenaline.
Yeah.
Almost like you play this unbelievable show.
Yeah.
And as you're going back to the
Walking
back or whatever, all of a sudden, you can't speak anymore. You're like, wait, is this it?
Yeah.
Was that my last show? But it was awesome. So it was a great moment and a sad moment. And I couldn't get off the training table for 2 hours after they had iced me and stemmed me and, given me medicine, all the things they would do. So yeah, most confusing, best and worst, 3 hours of my life. And that was
the leg and the nerve being crunched by the disc.
That was the disc being gone. actually. So they said, when I got the MRI done, they said, you have the disc of a 90-year-old man. We have to do something.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want my career to be over.
Sure.
So I rehabbed, and actually I made it work for another year and did okay, but it was different. My swing had slowed down. I would occasionally tweak it where I had to come out of a game.
Yeah.
So I was done. You're not going to make it to the big leagues after something like that unless you're 20. I was 28.
Sure.
So
sure.
Yeah. So I to wrap it up here, because this is not about JSlay. I go back to Atlanta, or go to Atlanta to start this job in roofing sales. Back's killing me, and it killed me for 4 years. I've lost my identity as a ball player, and all the fun and the teammates, the camaraderie, the women, all that stuff had gone silent.
Yeah.
And I basically, and I had no money either. So it's not like I can go out and party it up and, like a celebrity that's on the downswing. And it's well, I can just go party the next 10 years before I, run out of money. I couldn't even do that. So I just buried myself in my work.
Okay.
But I didn't ever grieve the loss of all these things. And man, it came back to bite me. And Jason and I talked off camera. We might do a part 2 that talks more about recovery out of life struggles, addictions, that kind of thing, because I've definitely been through it. I've put other people through it. And, I've got a story of recovery and coming back to health, and thank God and for relationships, because it usually never happens in a vacuum. But, we might have another session on that. But I'm glad to know that we're not afraid to share our stories, because I think more, women talk about everything. Men, when they've done things that maybe you get to a point in life you're kind of ashamed of, people pull back and they pretend it never happened.
Oh yeah,
but
no doubt.
The thing is, it lingers, and
see it as some weakness or something instead
of
just
or something that other people, man, if they knew this, they wouldn't respect me as a businessman or whatever. But most of the time, that's not the case. And I think, just like telling cultural truths, waking people up, man, we got to tell people life truths about waking them up out of.
Not about having a facade and putting on this kind of fake show. I just think it can maybe help people, if it even helps one of you. Being real with it, and that's what it's all about. My personal belief that's actually what being a man's about. That's a wisdom thing, is to actually, what do I care if you believe some storybook version of me? That doesn't help.
Not the real you.
It's not even real me. So it's how can I feel great about it? I'd rather just be real about it, be honest about it, maybe help someone. Also just show the humanity of it. With my music, I think a lot of the appeal with that group is because people see us as real people. We're not, we're not just only posting the little perfect moments, I think that's what it's all about.
Well, you do, but Ryan doesn't. So he's kind of dragging you along. He's teaching you.
He's teaching me the way, huh?
No, I'm kidding, man.
I'm all about the older I get, though, I don't know about you, but the more brutally honest I get, too.
Well, you're running out of time. You might as well tell the truth, right?
Maybe it isn't brutal, but I say it. Even down to music, we had I was talking to my musician buddies about it. I'll play a show or something with some guys, and you get the guy comes up and like, man, let's get together. You want to come to my garage next week and play, or whatever it may be. And they're always like, yeah, just message me. And I'm just but I'm like, why? Just tell them, man, I wish I had time to do that. But all reality, little things like those little moments where you can be honest with each other matter. They're I do that. Plus, it makes your life easier. You're not dodging people. I'd just rather just tell you, dude, you're probably awesome. Don't have time to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's a minor example, but.
Well, it's like me right now with this venture that I'm working on, just to be totally transparent. When I meet somebody, maybe they've been speaking at an event or whatever, and I tell them what I'm doing, they'll be all about it. And maybe, half the time they're probably being sincere, but they'll say oh, I would love to do your podcast. I'd love to do your, YouTube show, whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, fantastic. And they'll give me a card, they'll write their cell phone number on it. And I think in that moment, it's we're going to do this. Yeah. And then I'll text 4 or 5 times. Man, I don't want to be the clinger, but I'll give a couple phone calls and I'll get nothing. Then I'll wait a month to get nothing. So,
and I kind of fear that. I don't it's minor and small, but I think that matters to people. I don't want people to, it's just such a typical thing to do, especially for a celebrity or something. Not that I'm necessarily that, but I don't like that. I don't want to put people in that uncomfortable spot. I'd rather just be real with them, be honest with them, say, hey, this probably won't happen, but dude, hopefully one day I'm free.
Yeah. It might.
Don't get somebody's hopes up. Have them maybe change their life a little bit around maybe doing that. It's no.
But I'll say this about, this would be part of the whole category of maximizing your performance, right? Yeah. Whether it's music, whether it's sales, whether it's starting a podcast, I know even though I'm new at this, I know one thing is going to be true, because it's true in all categories of life. You really got to put yourself out there, and keep going, keep trying, keep making the calls. When I left baseball, and like I said, I was in a tough spot.
Yeah.
But I told myself, I know how hard this job is. I know that I don't know jack shit about the job.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get a TV. I was in Atlanta, a little apartment by myself, and for 6 months, I locked it in. I learned the roofing business. I made call after call after call. I'd probably set one meeting out of 100 cold calls, and cold calls being knocking on doors,
Wow.
you know. And I'm not just talking about people's houses. I'm talking about big plants and government entities, and they would.
And every year, cold calling ratio shrinks on success. The more we're bombarded with marketing and everything else, it's a joke now when you get a cold call. It's like or no.
So from that period, from 20 to 35.
Okay.
Walk us through, you sent me some bullet points on highs and lows. Yeah. Hit those for a minute to give people a sense of your arc, kind of like I did with the baseball and the Phillies thing.
Sure. Sadly, my memory, I'm much better on typing and writing. I was there telling you, I'm like, oh yeah, that is how my life went.
Nobody's going to cite you or.
Yeah, you're good. But it's funny, you start living your life, you get our age now, and it's kind of like, oh wow, I go back and revisit things. I almost forgot I did certain things, But okay, right out of high school, gap year, skip the college thing for now. I thought I might go, but at the same time, I got this in my head where, go to school, I'm almost accepting defeat. Back in my head, if I do that, then, I probably won't even really make it. I can go to music school where I just go out and, I had a pretty good gift to gab back then. I could work my way in, I had some great big musicians tell me that half of it to 80% of making it with a music group is being personable and being easy, not causing riffs, being able to get along with folks. Like, all right, I got this. I can do it. So anyway, after my high school experience, I went out. I got my first real serious girlfriend. I didn't have a real girlfriend all through high school, ever. I got just kind of partied, did everything. I was half chicken shit and half just kind of doing my own thing too.
You busied yourself with a lot of things. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah. Anyways, I get in a serious relationship. We kind of experienced the rave scene. There was this club in Nashville that would open at 3 a.m. and be open till 10 a.m. I went there and I was like, oh wow.
It's been 2003, 4, or 5.
Yeah, this was probably 2001. 2000.
Wow.
Yeah, it's hard. Just kind of partying. So anyway, I get to where, I'm hanging out with these people, wasting days, wasting nights. I started experimenting with ecstasy, doing all that kind of stuff, sleeping away entire days. But when I get in that high conversation or just normal conversation, I'm a drummer. I play music. I play this and that. And I started kind of believing my own lies though. It was real. I was playing music, but I wasn't carrying myself really with that. I was barely getting by. My actual, any goals that I actually even were really holding on to, that I was really holding to myself, weren't being met. I just kind of was stalling just kind of throughout for years. It was probably 21, 22. And honestly, when I met my wife at 22 or whatever, I think part of the reason we didn't make it is because when I met her, in my head, I was like, okay, this is next, because I just got done with that part of my life, being wild and this and that. I was like, yeah, this girl makes sense. She's cool. She's got a good job. This is what I do. And so I just played ball. The relationship, we fought all the time like cats and dogs still. We got married. We fought a lot. Oh, we'll build a house. That'll fill up some time. Build a house. Had a daughter, which thank God that happened. But anyway, still did music. Got to do some cool things. Started to get my focus a little sharper.
When would this have been?
This would have been 25 years old, 26 years old, kind of rolling in through there. But anyway, I ended up, in a weird way, drama in my marriage helped my career because I started to, because I was kind of running away from home. I wanted to, I knew if I was home, I was going to fight or be negative. So I wanted to be out working. I wanted to be out with my band. I ended up joined a band. I did a USO tour. We went to South Korea and played all the bases there. Started getting some better gigs again, working myself back into things. And that started to grow a little bit. But then when we parted ways, I kept doing music. I started doing a little bit cooler stuff too. But again, I started really partying because, my marriage is over, typical 30-year-old syndrome. Yeah. This is now, by the way, I'm turning 30 when I had my divorce.
Okay.
I'm trying to bump it up to there.
Yeah, explain one thing. You said South Korea.
Yes.
You were over there. Those military shows?
Yes. It was there's a guy named Fred Schaefer. I got hired to play with him. And my older brother played bass on it. Excellent bass player. That was really cool. He's incredible.
He still plays?
Yeah, a little bit. But now he's doing his own business too, kind of thing. Gotcha. After COVID, he kind of,
Now speaking of, so you were playing for the military out there. Were you were divorced at that point or married?
I was married.
Still married.
Yeah, I was married
Traveling and doing that.
When I played, basically this artist just signed a deal. You can kind of work out a deal with. He was signed with like a Sony affiliate.
Yeah.
And then he just did that. You can do AFE or USO. AFE is like USO. It's Armed Forces Entertainment.
Okay.
Same exact thing. There's just 2 units that do this.
Yeah.
And basically the pay was so it was like $600 a week. But basically I went there, landed in Japan, then went right over to South Korea. And we played every base in South Korea.
Wow.
Which
How
was
many
amazing.
How many?
I don't even know. I can tell you most of them's names. Weird Korean.
I mean, are we
names.
talking like 5 or are we talking like 100?
Oh, no. We were there for probably a solid 5 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks. And
How
we
many
played
shows?
pretty much daily. We get like
Really?
1 or 2
Okay,
days
so
off.
that's like 25,
I'd
30.
say we played a good, a couple places we played twice, but it's probably a good, gosh, I hate I don't know that. I should. However, it's
Well, I
kind
don't
of
know.
numb.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like
But
how
it
many
was
bases
great.
do we have?
It was an awesome
Was
experience.
part of that due to your own pay? Because this whole thing with you being patriotic, conservative, and all that, I didn't really know that about you. Of course, we weren't back then. We didn't think about it when we knew each other. It was just like everybody generally like.
We just enjoyed our childhood. We weren't obsessed with
Yeah.
social justice and
Nor do we want to be
hating
now.
presidents and
We just like have to be, or else like the country's gonna burn. So like if guys like you and I
as
don't,
fathers too. I think that's a lot of it. I'm like,
absolutely.
I mean, one thing, if I was single, I'd just be like, I'll just worry about making my money and it can burn. I mean, it sounds awful. I'd still care. I love my country. But I think my daughter really kicked it up a notch because I'm like, this is what I'm.
You don't want to see her
kids
grow
walk-
up in a shithole, number one. And two, like a racist shithole against her.
Yeah. I also want her to find a real man.
Yes.
Not some,
that's
beta
huge.
boy that's, thinks he has to be ashamed of being also a man, let alone, whatever race he may be. I don't care.
But okay, so I asked you about the there was some patriotism though. Was partly the reason you did that?
Yeah, I love the. I've always been supportive of the armed forces. Anything to do with, I was still in touch enough to know how much that mattered.
Yeah.
We haven't gone through any true military, huge, world-changing strife in our age. There was Desert Storm. There's all the different things. Those kind of things. But anyway, I got offered to do that. I was like, oh, that'll be really cool. That had a lot to do with my patriotism, building it anyway. I went to do this, and I played at these bases, and just it was amazing watching these soldiers, how like they would cry at our shows. We weren't that good, like we were, it was original music. So it wasn't stuff they really knew, but they would come up and afterwards in tears in their eyes sometimes, like tough dudes.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, just want to really thank you for bringing me a piece of home. Like It feels like I'm home for a minute. And basically what those guys do, if they bring their wife, they bring their family, they would do 2 years. If they go by themselves and leave their family at home, they do 1 year. It's kind of the balance you get.
Yeah.
You kind of have your choice. But yeah, they were just so by themselves. And I remember one of the most intense times was we played Camp Mujok, I believe it's called. It's right at the border,
of North and
South Korea. Wow. They are the closest thing to North Korea. They would be attacked first, as far as they probably bomb Seoul, but then they get them. But we go to this base. It is tiny. The place we played was like a poor school cafeteria. It was about the size of this room, but way not as nice, And we played, and these guys were just partying, man. They loved it. Again, a lot of them were crying afterwards. I had some funneling skills from earlier years. We sit there funneling, having competitions with them. They're tough dudes. We actually went to the border. We actually took us to the DMZ, the demilitarized zone.
Not the DMV. You weren't getting your license over there.
Yeah, right. Dude, this is awesome, man. We get there, and our bus rolls up, but it's just like us 5 dudes. It's our 4-person band and our sound guy. That's it. And we get off this bus, and you can see, like, they basically have, if you know much about that, they have their own little buildings there. And then over here's the south, and there's literally a line painted on the ground that goes in between the two. And when they saw us, they assumed maybe we were important because we were a small group. Because there's these old tourists, a bunch of old people, like take buses up there, But so we get there, and they come out of their big front main building. I don't know the term. They're high stepping, doing their march stuff, like putting on a show for us. They're like, they're doing this because y'all are here. I'm like, whoa! And we went in the little building that sits on the line. Yeah. Perfectly half of this room has a line going through it, and this is North Korea, and this is South Korea. So they talk there. Like Reagan had sat in that room. I think it was Reagan. Like only 1 or 2 presidents had kind of been there. So it was real historic when Trump actually crossed that line. That was a big deal. He stepped into it. But it was crazy as they had the
this is a little off topic, but this is awesome. So Asian people are just, we don't see them as like the tallest people necessarily, generally speaking, all that. These dudes were all huge. They're all jacked, tall. And I'm like, I kind of noticed it, but I didn't say nothing. And they were just like, oh yeah, to actually be in like this portion of the military, you have to have certain requirements. You have to learn all these different martial arts. And we go in this room and there's these, by the door into North Korea was a South Korean soldier and another soldier next to him that was like, next to him, like kind of like, they're like, well, what they did is years ago they opened that door and pulled one of the soldiers through and beat on him and about killed him. So there's a guy there ready to hold him if they open the door because they can't lock it and like keep him from getting tugged down. Very weird.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is a different. Anyway, but we went down in the little place where they brief you, where Obama, some people have been briefed, or Bush at the time, where they've been briefed and all that. And anyways, it was a great experience. But after that, again, a little bit of a lull, playing music, playing in a cover band. Best friends though, awesome dudes.
Making
playing
any
a
money?
Led Zeppelin tribute, that was really cool.
I mean, making money though, supporting yourself
making some
enough.
money, making some money,
Okay.
making some. But
Okay.
that just kind of that started to just not really. Once my divorce happened, I stayed in the house we had. I couldn't really afford to do the payment myself. I ended up doing some crappy real estate deal. Got screwed on that. Owe the bank money, even though I now don't have the house. I started living in an apartment. I'm embarrassed to pretty much bring my daughter to this room at a college house I'm living in. And it hit me. And I started looking into jobs that have little schooling. Got into the home inspection thing because it really only took a few weeks.
And again, how old are you here?
God, it's a good question. I'm probably just around 31.
Okay.
30,
Because
31.
I was
32.
turning 30 when I left baseball. So you and I were at that same okay,
wow.
things are going to go one way or the other here. I got to get a real job.
Yeah.
So.
And my daughter's a lot of that. I don't know if I'd have been strong enough to really make moves that quick if it wasn't for her.
Yeah.
I'm just like, and a little bit of that shame fueled me, I wasn't going to pity about it. I was like, I got to do this. I can do this. So I get some check cashing job, third shift. I'm like, I'm gonna do this home inspection thing. I'm gonna spend the days trying to get work. It's gonna take me a while to have enough to stay busy. So I work this third shift job. It's awful.
I bet.
I'm working this place. But what I did
You're not a little kid anymore either.
And I was on food stamps. I got on food stamps for about 5 months.
Really?
And
so when you say I was making some money, you weren't killing it. You weren't like putting a bunch in the bank to
no.
You were just kind of getting by and doing okay.
Yeah, I was making some money.
And then you ran out of money.
We're talking a gig or two a week if I'm lucky. So then it's like, and that, still though, like our cover band would make $600 to $800. We're talking maybe 150 to 200 a man, not including expenses. It's not a fruitful job at all. It's really hard to really live off of music at a lower level, you know? And a little of this history is clouded. I'm pretty sure I was at a bad time too, where I don't even know if I was really playing with anybody much at that point in time. There was some band changes and things that happened too. So, yeah, but anyway, so I was like, I'm going to do this home inspection thing. I get on food stamps. They give you a good bit of surprise. It's I guess because I have my daughter. Like, they give us a good bit of money, but I got what I needed. And then I was like, I'm going to do the home inspection thing. How do I get work? And I figured out realtors are the key. Realtors recommend me. I do the home inspection for the people buying the house. They maybe refer a few people, but if they like you, they say use me. Okay. So I was like, all right, what do I do? So I started trying to research, and I was like, okay, I can get these gigs where I basically feed them lunch at their office, and they let me speak for 10 minutes. So I'm like, all right, I can do this. So I started trying to figure out a logo and kind of got all that stuff worked out. And I basically just ate crappy food and would use all my food stamp money to buy like Walmart submarine sandwiches and big bags, little bags of chips and everything. And I would get the job. I'd go in there and then I'd present that and speak. And every office I did, I would get 1 to 3 realtors. And then I just started building it up. And, that got rocking. And I've been doing it, I guess, about 7-8 years now. Cool. But I haven't marketed in probably 3 or 4 years. It all got word of mouth and it got going. And then, oh man, I quit that third shift job. Man, my life just started skyrocketing. And then, cause now I'm making $300-400 a day doing the home inspections. I felt rich, Yeah. It was like life, it's awakening. As a drummer, what we're doing is ultimately supporting someone else. So however free and fun and awesome it is, I still in the back of my head know that I'm just there based on someone else being there. If that singer's done, if that songwriter's done, I don't have work. I'm I'm interchangeable. I am, no matter how good I am or whatever. It's not my baby. And so having that business really woke me up to a lot of things, including conservative values. I started thinking more about money and income and how much they're taking of my money and where's it going and, issues like that.
It happens all the time, man. People aren't very political,
Yeah.
which is fine. Just live your life, enjoy America. But
Yeah.
you start, building a business and raising a family, and all of a sudden, like, the nuts and bolts of society really matter.
Yeah.
So that wakes a lot of people up. But I think right now there truly is a great awakening going on, because like one side of the political aisle is now saying, here's what you're going to do and believe, and the way you're going to live your life.
We got away with this. Now you're going to do that.
That's right. Then George Floyd. And George Floyd was like, it checked all the boxes, for the left. But it took 3 or 4 months, I remember, for that truth to come out. And by then the damage was done. Like, I've got 2 white sons that I'm not going to train to be in the penalty box.
Yeah.
I'm going to train them to be leaders and good people, absent of their skin color.
Yeah.